Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Today we have a little bit more Delta renders, courtesy of Jason Hill's LinkedIn page. So there's two images here. One is a slight animation of the um, charge port and the license plate cover, which I think is a pretty elegant solution. It looks great when it's closed and easily hides the port, and then you get pretty easy access to the port. It's a Tesla plug, obviously, and I think they're pretty glad that it's a Tesla plug because this space is not big enough for a CCS1, I don't think. It probably wouldn't fit. The other thing that's pretty clear from this angle, just because it's off center a little bit. What I didn't notice before is that there's a little ledge here. And looking back at the previous picture, it is pretty clear that there is a little ledge here. And this is great because it lets you put your fingers underneath there and lift up the hood, help lift, excuse me, not the hood, the trunk lid, the hatch. We should call it the hatch, I guess, since it's sort of a hatchback. So you can lift up the hatch here and then um, in the previous picture where it was straight back, it kind of looked like this area was wide. And I was wondering about that, but it's very clear that this area is not wide, it's narrow. And you see a single camera here, and the single camera is pointed downward. And then this material looks a little bit like CF carbon fiber SMC, but I'm not sure if that's what it is or some other material. And it's very clear that it comes to a point and it's narrow. Okay, the other thing that they have is, let's see here. Okay, this is the other picture that Jason O put out on his LinkedIn page. So from this, I counted these, and someone else double checked my numbers on this. I counted 93 solar cells on this. This is up from, if you look back at their order page, and this is still like the quote alpha design. There's 80 uh, solar cells here, and then if you go back to their beta gamma design, there's 88 of these, and with the new hatch, there's 93. I think there's 93 here. So someone else double check my numbers, but there's 93 solar cells on the hatch from my. And then the other interesting thing that you see here is this looks like a rear view camera. So, and I believe this is where they're putting the rear view camera. The on the Gamma vehicle, um, there was two here, and both the backup camera and the rear view camera were right here. And I think now the backup camera is here, and the rear view camera. This is probably the camera that's going to be ported to the center uh, rear view mirror, which is now a screen. I think that's what this camera is. And then, of course, this is the brake light right here. The other thing you notice is that there's a fairly significant curve here. So these solar cells on the edges have a fairly significant curve placed on them at this corner. And it looks like, so let's go back to the gamma from fully charged. So what's disappearing, I think, is this back panel up here. That's going away. And this side panel, which is SMC, is going to go all the way back. And this hatch is going to go all the way back to here. And so what I'm wondering is if, see on the gamma at fully charged, this hatch is glass. And obviously if you don't get the hatch solar, it's going to be glass. But I'm hoping if you get the full solar that they won't make it glass because glass is pretty heavy. It's pretty expensive. And I think they could save a lot of weight by making the hatch either carbon fiber or SMC. So the hatch on the Prius Prime a few years ago was carbon fiber. So I think that this was also forged SMC, CFSMC. So forged carbon fiber. They put the weave pattern in here to make it look like it's the weave, but it's actually I think forged carbon fiber. So they did this as a weight savings. The Prius Prime has this as weight savings, and I think that if they made this part a carbon fiber or a fiberglass hatch, it would save a lot of weight. And if it's made by a CPC group, it would fit perfectly. You know, the fit would be really, really nice because they're making everything else, and you can make things fit very well because they're just very repeatable forged pieces, and there's no like thermal expansion or any buckling. And I think that's one of the big advantages of them going with the CFSMC and the SMC is that there's no thermal expansion problems. They're built to interdigitate, so they lock in really well. So I think that like panel gaps and stuff will not be an issue. There will be very few panel gaps. And you can probably build them to very tight tolerances. Anyway, I think you could save at least like, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe even 50 pounds by changing this hatch to SMC or CFSMC. And it's kind of a unique design because there's no frame on this. It looks like if you go back and look at, let's see, let's go back and look at this animation. There's no frame on this thing. So it's either the glass or the SMC or whatever material it is right to the end. So there's no metal frame around that, which is a little different than previous hatches, like like the like the Prius one. You know, there's a frame around the glass or whatever in this, whereas the Aptera is going to be a frameless design, which I think looks really cool. Overall, I'm really liking the changes to Delta. We're going to get more teasers over the next couple of weeks, I think. And what's very clear is they've moved the camera up to the top. I'm almost certain that that's a camera. And they've added about 5 more solar panels. So 93 is my count. Someone double check me and let me know if you count a different thing. And then one of the things that people were wondering about is if you make the hatch, the glass hatch or the fiberglass hatch or this carbon fiber hatch go all the way to the end, if you got a rear-ended, it would make this hatch break. And obviously that would be the case if you got impacted here. But the bumpers of most cars is going to hit here. So if a car rear ends you, they're going to hit this part, and this part is the foam, the same thing as the back parts of the wheel cover. So this part is foam, and I think this will be easily replaceable. And this is the bumper of the Aptera. You're not going to get impacted up here unless you're rear-ended by something with a bumper that's much higher, like maybe a lifted truck or something like that. So any normal car, the bumper is going to be down in this area and it won't contact this area unless you get hit really, really hard. If you get really, really hard, then it's gonna damage everything anyway. But small rear end impacts are going to end up here, and this is the bumper of the Aptera. So I wouldn't worry too much about the changes to um, the hatch in terms of getting rear ended. Okay, well, tell me what you guys think of the design. Thanks for watching. Thanks as always to our supporting members. Have a great day, everyone.